Hey everyone, it's Alex here. I get a lot of messages from folks who are trying to decide whether a laptop that's marketed as a creator's machine is actually worth the cash, especially when they're also eyeing it for a bit of gaming on the side. I've been talking to a few friends who are juggling video editing, 3D modeling, and the occasional Call of Duty match after work, and the big question that keeps popping up is, will this thing really hold up for both my side hustle projects and my weekend gaming? Or am I just throwing money at a hype-filled spec sheet? If you're hovering over the same decision, the link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down the Acer SwiftX SFX14 42G R607, see who it actually serves, and figure out if it's the sweet spot or a compromise you'd rather avoid. First off, the SwiftX sits in that 14-inch sweet spot that's tempting for anyone who wants a laptop that can slip into a backpack without looking like a toaster, yet still pack a serious GPU. The RTX 3050 Ti is the cornerstone of the gaming GAN creative promise, and it's paired with an AMD Ryzen 7 5825U, which is a pretty beefy mobile processor. In the real world, that combination translates into a laptop that can render a 1080p video timeline in Premiere Pro without you hearing that dreaded hum from the fans for a couple of minutes. I took a friend's 4K vlog footage, dropped it into a timeline, and the export time was roughly 20% faster than the previous laptop she was using, a slightly older 15-inch model with a GTX 1650. That's a tangible improvement you can feel when you're on a deadline. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The screen is a 14-inch Full HD panel covering 100% of the sRGB gamut, which is great news for color-critical work. The colors look vivid enough that you don't have to keep a calibrator on standby for most social media projects. However, the panel is still limited to 60 Hz refresh, so if you're chasing buttery smooth frame rates for fast-paced shooters, you'll notice the difference compared to a 144 Hz display. In practice, that means you'll get decent frame rates in esports titles, but you won't experience that ultra-fluid feel you get on a dedicated gaming monitor. Another practical point is the battery life. Acer markets uncompromised battery life, and on a typical workday mixing a bit of Lightroom editing, a Zoom call, and a short YouTube binge I could stretch the charge to about 8 hours. That's solid for a laptop with an RTX GPU, but it's not the kind of endurance you'd see on a pure ultrabook with integrated graphics. If you plan to be away from power for a full day of field work, you'll still need a charger or a power bank handy. The chassis feels surprisingly sturdy for its weight, about 3.5 pounds. The made-to-move tagline isn't just marketing fluff, the laptop slides into a slim profile bag without denting the fabric. The backlit keyboard is a nice touch for late-night editing sessions, and the fingerprint reader integrated with Windows Hello speeds up logins without fumbling for passwords. One thing I noticed, though, is that the keyboard layout is still a bit cramped for those who like to rest their palms while typing. The tiny key travel works fine for quick bursts but can get uncomfortable during marathon typing sessions. So, who should actually consider the SwiftX? If you're a content creator who needs a portable workstation for video editing, graphic design, or light 3D work, this laptop checks a lot of boxes. The RTX 3050 Ti gives you enough CUDA cores to accelerate rendering in software like Blender and DaVinci Resolve, while the Ryzen 7 CPU handles multitasking without a hiccup. The 16GB of LPDDR4X RAM is already soldered in, which eliminates the worry of a memory bottleneck for most creative workflows. Pair that with a 512GB SSD, and you have fast load times for both OS boot and project files. For someone who travels to client sites, the combination of a bright, color-accurate display and a relatively light chassis makes the SwiftX a solid companion. On the flip side, if you're a hardcore gamer who plays the latest AAA titles at max settings, you'll probably feel the limitations. The RTX 3050 Ti is a lower-tier card in the RTX family. It can handle titles like Valorant or Fortnite at high settings with ease, but push it into Cyberpunk 2077 on ultra settings, and you'll be trading frame rate for visual fidelity. Likewise, if you're a developer who needs to run multiple virtual machines or a data scientist tackling large datasets, you might find the 512GB SSD a bit restrictive. You'd end up juggling external drives or cloud storage to keep everything accessible. Now, let's discuss the practical strengths. The first thing I appreciated was the fast Wi-Fi 6 connectivity. When I was uploading a 20-minute video to YouTube from a CAF, the upload speed hovered around 65 Mbps, consistent and reliable, which is a relief when you're on a deadline. The